going to talk to my friend Liam Driver all about Međugorje. Now, some of you will have heard that word before. Some of you will think, oh, that's a foreign land in the middle of the Eastern Europe somewhere that I've never really looked into. But those of you who are on the Catholic end of the spectrum will at least be vaguely aware of Our Lady's apparitions that are very active in that area. So I wanted to bring on my friend Liam to discuss what does that mean, what's the latest news about it, and what does it mean for our faith. So thank you for joining me, Liam, on the show live today. How are you? Where are you?
Very well, thank you. I'm on Kensington High Street in London right now.
Okay, so I understand you spend a lot of time out in Međugorje yourself. You've got a company, Discover Međugorje Limited. How does that work? Are you spending half your time in England and half your time out there?
It's as I choose. I mean, last year I was there most of the year. This year I've managed to have more teams helping me out. So we have trips all the time. This October we have 5 pilgrimages there.
Oh, excellent. So I was trying to organise a pilgrimage myself, and I will get back to that now that I'm established in my new parish out here in Grand Rapids, West Michigan. I would love to get out to Međugorje myself at some point, as you know. But for those who are entirely unaware of Our Lady's apparitions in Međugorje, what is the background story?
Well, I mean, first of all, we do have to specify that we can't actually call them Our Lady's apparitions as yet. So they're alleged apparitions of the Blessed Virgin Mary.
That's very politically correct, Liam.
Yeah, since 1981, allegedly Our Lady's appeared to 6 children, and has declared that these are her last apparitions on earth. God sent her to call the world to conversion for the last time, and after this she will not appear on this earth again. And she made her intention clear. God wants to reconcile and convert the whole world back to himself. And that as it's the last time, the Almighty has permitted her more than ever to bring as many souls to heaven. Now, those apparitions have happened in a small town, in a small village at the time, Bosnia-Herzegovina, to these 6 children, and they do not know when they'll end. It appears they will continue for the rest of their lives. So I think we're 43 years there. I've been working there since I was a teenager, so for 18 years, bringing groups, and I've brought thousands of people from all walks of life there.
Well, let's start off with why they're alleged apparitions. What does it mean to be an alleged apparition?
Well, I could call it Our Lady's apparitions because I'm no one, but from an ecclesial point of view, a priest would have to really say it's Our Lady's apparitions, they would have to have the full approval. So until then, a priest from a pulpit, if he was ever to speak, he would have to clearly say alleged. Now, people get carried away with this and would say to me, I couldn't say Our Lady, but I could because I don't have any ecclesial standing. But I'm just saying to you.
No, I know, but I'm asking why. What is it? What's the process for it to become a recognised apparition?
Well, it's just changed. So there was the 1978 criterion, which was a more traditional form, which was a traffic light form. It would either be on red, amber, or green, either declared as supernatural, not supernatural, or pending. Međugorje always remained on the pending amber. They've now changed it to scrapping the traffic light system, and since 2024, the new criterion for discernment of apparitions has 6 different levels. None of them have a strong approval, where they're saying there is a supernatural confirmation that it's coming from God. But that is reserved for the Pope to do independently of the criteria if he wishes. So what has happened today is we've seen the highest level on this criteria, which is the Nihil Obstat.
Right. And we'll get to what the news from today was, but just to clarify this, for people who are watching that aren't Catholic, this can all sound very legalistic. It's like, well, surely either this is a miracle or it's not a miracle. Surely the people involved will know if it's a miracle or not. But this is actually scriptural. This is all about testing, right? And we're told to test prophecies. We're told to test visions and apparitions. We're told to test our faith. And of course, that's what this process is about. It's making sure that it's from God and not from the other side, essentially.
Absolutely. Okay. Yeah.
And so today there's been a press conference. What have the Vatican said about Međugorje?
Well, So the Vatican have given a nihil obstat on the apparitions up until date of Međugorje, which simply means that there is nothing they have identified that stands in the way that is damaging to the faith, and that people are free to read the messages. So they have actually published the messages. They vetted through them. It was a mess because there's loads of fake messages, if you like. When I say fake messages, things that Our Lady never said. There's hearsay messages. There's things that priests have said and somehow got turned into a message from Our Lady. So they've done an enormous work filtering through all of this and identifying what exactly have the visionaries said the Blessed Virgin has said. And they've published this, and they have also given the messages a nihil obstat. And they have classed it as edifying, beautiful, and inspiring to the faith.
Okay, so they've essentially said it's okay for Catholics to go to Međugorje and to worship there and to be actively partaking in these alleged apparitions. Of course, that's a good thing. Of course, it's strengthening people's faith, and we'll get to what it's actually done for people's faith. But the concern there, of course, is that if this is all true, this is Our Lady's last visit to Earth. That sounds quite significant.
Absolutely. And I would take the opportunity to comment on that, because I've been running these trips for ages. I've read every document, every criterion. There's also private criteria that the lay people will never see, that bishops only see. And I had a bishop show me through it. And there is no such thing as you cannot go somewhere until it's approved. I'm personally a traditional Catholic, and I call it neo-traditionalism. We need to be careful not to make up rules. So in Fatima, all those people that were there during the Sundance, they're part of our history. That apparition wasn't approved. What the law is in the church is that a priest cannot speak from the pulpit and call this the Blessed Virgin Mary until it is approved. But
Right.
somehow us traditional Catholics, we take that on ourselves. And coming back to what you said, that's very sad that I actually call that modernism, because that's a modern new rule that's not in line with history. The people of Fatima didn't do that. The people of Lourdes didn't do that. And those people are missing out on an enormous grace if we want to be neutral, if the Blessed Virgin's appearing there.
Yeah, so people should be cautious, but not to the degree that they cut out their faith. And I'm with you entirely on this. We see this a lot with modern Catholics. There's a Pharisaical attitude sometimes. For example, the cult of saints. Throughout the history of the church, the cult of saints has always started at a local veneration level. People have often venerated local martyrs and local good, faithful Christians and in their faith before they've been canonized as a saint. It's been part of the process of canonization, actually. And now we've reached a point in history where people think, well, we cannot have anything to do with that person until it's officially canonized by the church. Like everything's got this official stance on it. That's a very modern take on the faith. But talking about the graces received and talking about the faith that's encouraged at Međugorje, can you tell us some personal stories of people that have actually come to faith or refound their faith through visiting?
Absolutely. And that, I first went when I was a teenager, and I immediately brought my friends. So I had a conversion myself there of sorts. And my brother Daniel, who's now involved in the movies Mass of the Ages, he has publicly said his testimony, so I don't want to get into too much trouble, but he was living a completely different life. And it was just not for him going into Catholicism. But when I brought him there, the rest is history. He's now a strong pioneer for the traditional Mass. My best friend, I told, you've got to come here. I told him that there's lots of beautiful women, there's sunshine, there's an ocean, there's nightclubs. And when he got there, he was not Catholic, Protestant, and he said, you lied to me. He thought it was Ibiza. And I said to him, look, Simon, you might have painted Ibiza in your head, but I haven't lied to you, because that would be a sin, and I'm trying not to lie now. Actually, there is an ocean. It's beautiful. It's 40 minutes away. There are nightclubs about half an hour away in the city. And there are beautiful women. They're all in the church praying. So he said, I will never, ever be Catholic, Liam, if that was your plan. I won't go into the story now, but because I had my own private journey of discerning if I privately believed in these apparitions, and I had my own private experience where I came to privately have a beautiful certainty that Our Lady is appearing there. I teamed up with Our Lady and I said to her, "You're here for this purpose, to convert the world. Help me." I prayed the rosary like I never had before, and he converted on the spot through one rosary. His mother was to be a vicar of a Protestant evangelical church. She was also against, she didn't get the Catholic faith, she wasn't against it. She came to Međugorje and she came back to her evangelical church. They called her the Vicar of Dibley. She was a short, plump lady, always joking. And she said, "I've just been where the mother of Jesus is appearing, and she's brought me more to her son than ever, and I'm becoming Catholic, and I invite you all to join." Only one lady came and with her became Catholic. And I could keep going on. It just kept happening. The more people I took there and prayed with Our Lady and said, "Please, you've come here for this reason," the more people would convert. Ex-radicals, multi-millionaires, the poorest to the highest. There's a private multi-millionaire, very, very wealthy, I think it could be even more. He now pays for the poorest, the addicts, to go there 5 times a year. There's the owners of Wintershall Estate. He was a Buddhist. He had a conversion there. And now he's performs, God rest his soul, he died recently. But his family used their 1,000-acre grounds to perform the Life of Christ plays, and also in Trafalgar Square in London.
I've been to them and promoted them on this show. It's fantastic what they do.
So it just kept going on. And then I thought, well, if I stop doing this, I mean, it doesn't stop. Our Lady, I believe, Our Lady is still appearing there. And she still has that mission. So the more people I bring, the more they convert.
So is this a mission for you?
Sorry?
Is this a mission for you then?
I never like to declare that, you know. I asked Our Lady privately, "Let me give my life to help you on this mission." But I never like to go around and say, "I've got this mission." Okay. And I asked several spiritual directions. I was very nervous, like, who am I to think that? But I'm very happy to be able to participate in this and ultimately bring people to traditional Catholicism.
It's an important ministry, it really is. And you talk a lot about private devotions there. And that's, again, it's something else that seems to be lost in the modern Catholic faith. You know, before they were prescribed dogmas, Our Lady's Assumption, Our Lady's Immaculate Conception, they were private pious devotions for a millennia, actually, before the church dogmatized them. And there are many things like this that help people in their faith, that don't detract from anything, but are almost supplemental to people's faiths. And these private devotions are spiritual, they are important. We're a spiritual faith. We tend to think that people in the East are spiritual and we're more dogmatic, and that's to our fault. That's a loss, actually. And so I think hearing these stories of these Catholic devotions and conversions and all of the mystery of the spirituality of Međugorje is what excites me. But also, I tend to look at it, Liam, as if I was around at the time of Fatima or Lourdes, I would have wanted to have been there to experience Our Lady in person. And so if it's alleged that Our Lady is appearing in Međugorje, this is why I want to get out there in my lifetime. It's fundamentally important for me as a small C Catholic to get out there. So I think for anyone that considers themselves a Christian and believes in miracles, believes our Lord and Our Lady are active in this world, should probably try and make an effort to get out there.
I mean, I absolutely agree. I also would agree, though, on the other side, with someone who would feel that they've got to be very prudent and cautious, and I'm sure you agree with that as well. It goes without saying, but that is the point. That I've heard stuff like, people that go to Međugorje, they just sort of believe in signs and wonders. But I know these people personally that come. And a lot of them aren't even Catholic that come, they end up Catholic. So we can't really comment on the intellect. It's quite conceited to actually decide someone's intellect and say that they're gullible to something. It's important to follow on from what you said, that we obviously have a skepticism, a prudence. Yes. When I was there first, I was very skeptical. And I think that is the healthy starting point. And also to look to the church, what the church says. And that is also very important. But I did that. And if you look very carefully, and what we saw today is they went through the entire history of Međugorje with the church. It wasn't that it's completely condemned. And what I loved that they said today is the Vatican clarified Our Lady never said all religions are equal. She actually
Oh, good.
Opposite.
Yeah. Okay, what did she say? What? Because I've heard this quote a lot. People are saying, "Well, Our Lady said similar to what the Pope said, that all religions lead to God," or something like that. I'm like, huh?
No. I mean, the consistency of her messages go to the point that she says there's no salvation outside the sacraments. Satan through modernism diverts you and leads you to his ways, etc. But in that context, she said there is but one God and one faith. When asked about different religions, and another time she said all men are equal before God. This does not mean all religions are equal before God. Certainly all religions are not equal before God. It's very clear the overriding message in Međugorje is that there is one faith through the sacraments. Outside of them, Our Lady has said there is no salvation. So she's actually kind of reiterated that controversial Catholic statement.
Yeah. Well, this is what the church has always taught, that there is no faith outside of the sacraments, and that actually there's no health in us outside of the Mass. Mm-hmm. So this is good to hear. This is all pleasing. You mentioned there about intellect and not letting intellect get in the way, but also being kind of skeptical at the same time. And I think I want to just emphasize that the Pharisees and the Sadducees were skeptical to the point of putting their intellect above their faith. And so, no, this is the law, this is the faith, and anything outside of that does not mean. We have to be careful not to get to that point. But of course, we should take everything with a pinch of salt and measure these with tests. We should always test. For people that want to get out there, I understand you have a tour company, you do tour guides and pilgrimages. How does that work, and how can people find out about that?
Discovermej.com is our website, MEDJ. We don't have the full name Međugorje because it's too hard for people to spell. info@discovermedj.com. My team in Međugorje, there's an office there, and they reply to all requests.
So does that mean that people have to set up their own pilgrimages, or they set pilgrimages at certain times of the year?
To the highest standards, so people can discover Međugorje. And what I like about what we do is everyone is shocked. But there are two Međugorjes. There's this Međugorje that we hear on the internet. And I don't believe in that Međugorje either. I'm with the people that don't believe in Međugorje. I don't believe in that Međugorje at all. All these experts that have never really been, and they're so-called experts. And then there's the real Međugorje, completely different, and they've never known it. And so that is what Discover Međugorje does. We really bring people to the truth and the real Međugorje there.
Absolutely fantastic. Could you leave us with one more faith story of someone that you know that has had a positive experience in Međugorje?
Oh, there are so many. My goodness, there are so many. The one that touched me most recently is a man who, after I think 40 years, had his first confession. We have it every single time. We've had Hindus that are coming over to traditional Catholicism. I would like to leave this with a reiteration that, if you don't mind, that the Church, the Vatican News interestingly calls it an approval. It's a nihil obstat. That Our Lady in Međugorje said, if you had the choice between seeing me or going to Holy Mass, you must always choose the Holy Mass. That if we have the tradition, we have the fullness, but we can never exhaust Our Lady and the graces that she brings us. We can never exhaust the gifts from God. We can only deepen in those mysteries. So this is a grace. We can go there privately. I mean, I'm trying to think of one example, but there are so many. A lot of young people becoming strong Catholics. We all become traditional. Many Hindus are coming. I have still some more Hindus that are coming with the sister who converts to traditional Catholicism. I have some atheists coming on my next trip. I would like to just invite people to follow the traditional faith, which is go to the traditional Mass, because that is only what Our Lady's doing in Međugorje. I'm sorry if I'm trying to think of like another incredible story. There are so many. I've taken thousands there, and there's not one trip where there isn't a story like I've just told you.
We spend a lot of time on this show promoting the traditional Latin Mass, and I know your brother has a good resource at is it the Latin Mass? No, massofages.com, where people can find out more information about that. And that the fullness of the Mass is vital. It has been watered down in modernity, as most things have. And as you heard Liam say, one of the messages from the visionaries from Our Lady is that the enemy, the Lord of the Father of Lies, gets us through modernism and modernity and twists things to his own ends, and it's a great shame. So we should always go further back toward the Church Fathers, the early Church, and how we used to practice and what we used to believe. So Liam, Driver, thank you very much for coming on, explaining Our Lady of Međugorje to us, and we'll hope to see you out there.
Thank you. I look forward to it.
God bless.
Thank you for watching my Common Sense Crusade. If you'd like to watch the whole show, you can subscribe to lotuseaters.com for as little as £5 per month, and then you get access to a bank of content as well. My show is 3 p.m. every Thursday. See you there. Deus Vult.